Making good progress.
And the speed of which is, obviously, you can only go so fast.
Well, the biggest part of what we're doing, obviously, is logistics behind it. I mean, actually running the ballots through the tabulator is a relatively quick process, but you have to, open the ballot box, you have to sort all the materials. Some of these ballots are folded. We want to flatten them out so they run through the tabulator more smoothly. And then once you get it in, you run the report, download the images, and you then reverse the process, put all the ballots back in the ballot box, relock it, reseal it, and put it back into the storage facility. That takes far more time than actually scanning the ballots. So, we're into the smaller towns now, but the bulk of the time is really spent in getting things ready to process.
As you know, Congressman Poliquin and 3 others have filed in federal court claiming this violates the Constitution and are asking you to cease the count.
I've heard something about that, yes.
I'm sure you have. Comment?
We'll wait for the court to go through its process. We don't comment on pending litigation. I've always said that litigation is an important part of this process. We are implementing the law as has been enacted by the people of the state of Maine, and we are following the law as best as we can with the rules that we have implemented. And people who have a grievance with that process have the opportunity to go to a judge and ask for clarification. We welcome that. We do the best we can. Oftentimes, the clarification from a court either affirms what we're doing or gives us a better direction to go in the future.
And what about this request to Phyllis Gardner to have you folks cease the count? I think they used the phrase out of respect for the court and the court process.
Well, I mean, that runs on a separate track. So just like we don't act on media reports, we also don't act on ex parte requests. If a judge tells us to stop, we'll stop.
So, but for the moment, count proceeds.
I think we have to obey the law, and the law says that we proceed.
Mm-hmm. Have you talked with Phyllis Gardner yet about this request?
I have not. I did have an email exchange with her this morning when the suit first came in, but I have had no further discussion with her.
Yeah. So you would wait. So your answer then is wait. If a judge tells you to stop, you will. Otherwise, you keep going.
We'll take our direction from the judge, or if Phyllis says we should stop, we'll stop. But it's not. I don't think it's her decision to make either. This is really up to the judge.
Do you have an idea just about how much longer it'll take to finish processing?
About 5 to 10 more minutes, I think. We should be done early before lunch. So if you have plans, you don't have to break them.
But by tomorrow, when do you think the tabulation would actually take place?
Well, like I said before, we'll have a better sense this afternoon. I mean, we worked 6 hours on Saturday, 6 hours yesterday. This will be a full day. And at that point, I think, we'll look at what we have left to go, and then figure out what that time frame will look like. And I think at that point we'll be able to maybe begin to estimate, how much longer it's going to be. Remember, once we get all this done and in, we still have to reconcile everything. So it's not a matter of like, oh, last time's in, let's run the tabulation. It doesn't quite work that quickly. We want to make sure we do have everything in. We want to make sure that all the numbers that we have match what the warden's reports were on election night, and that's going to take a little bit of time.
Yesterday, you were somewhat critical of the Maine Republican Party for the tactics they were using, and then some of the things that happened over the weekend. The court challenges, do you see that as the same? Do you see that as potentially undermining confidence, or is this different in your eyes?
The courts do nothing but enhance the integrity of the process, so I have no concern about court action here. So anything that we've done with elections in the time that I've been Secretary of State, when the court has ruled against me or the court has ruled in favor of decisions we've made, I think actually enhances the public's confidence in this system. It's a critical check on the process. So that's completely different than anything that we see in the outside world, outside of this process. People making commentary that may influence opinion. And people are free to do that. And it's also part of the process too. This is a political world, by the way. We're dealing in politics. So that's part of it. I think there are some things we can talk about, some things we shouldn't talk about. Litigation obviously is part of the things that we should not talk about while it's in transit. But by and large, I mean, everything that's been going on here has been sort of insulated from a lot of that. And I think the folks that are working here are doing a great job. And for many of them, they gave up their holiday weekend to be here, and we're very grateful to them. We're grateful to the clerks for making it easier for us to do this by the way that they've done their job on election night. And I think it's pretty safe to say that people should be able to trust the result when it's done.
Barring a change in the Constitution, in some ways, do we need a federal court ruling to say this is okay, this isn't?
Well, I mean, we're talking about state election law, so I don't know what a federal decision would be based on, based on something to do with other than what's in state election law. So I can't comment on that either. But you know, in terms of how we conduct our elections, most of it is in the state constitution, and then state law then is informed by the constitutional amendments that have been ratified over the last 2 years.
But it is kind of, it all seems kind of, I don't know if murky is the right word, but a little unclear regarding the federal candidates. The state constitution doesn't speak to that a lot.
No, it doesn't speak to federal elections at all, as a matter of fact.
Yeah.
But neither really does the federal constitution either, except for the fact that the House shall be the final arbiter of the qualifications of its members. You know, state election law is largely devolved to the conduct by the states. That's why states all do it a little bit differently. But, you know, nonetheless, there are a lot of enumerated rights in the Constitution that could come into play here, and that's what's being brought to question, and that's...
So is it, do we need to kind of get to this point to get rid of the controversy or uncertainty over ranked choice?
I don't think this will resolve any of the controversy about ranked choice voting. I mean, this has been a very long journey that we've been on. You know, I think many people thought it would have been settled when the people ratified, you know, the referendum question in 2016, and that has certainly not been the case between, you know, the lack of agreement in the legislature and the continued litigation throughout the primary process. So again, you know, we ignore that. You know, we look at the law as written by the people and we apply it, and that's what we're doing right now.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
Do they take a lunch break, or would they go right through?
They'll probably take a lunch break.
I'm gonna go get some beer.
Hello?
Time.